In the narrative arc of Tamar's life, we find her bound by the ancient custom of levirate marriage, which obligated a man to marry his deceased brother's widow to produce offspring that would carry on the brother's name. However, Tamar found herself ensnared in a tragic cycle of loss and neglect. Her husband, was wicked in the sight of the Lord and died, leaving her childless. Onan, her brother-in-law, then married her as duty required, but he too perished because he shirked his duty, ensuring no offspring would survive.
Welcome to the exploration of one of the most intriguing figures in the Bible, Tamar. In today's video, we'll delve into her captivating stories filled with twists, turns, and timeless lessons, which resonate in our present time. So to uncover how victorious Tamar became despite what she went through, watch this video to the very end, and please support this channel by hitting the subscribe button. So let's delve right into today's video.
As we peel back the layers of history, we find Tamar's narrative not just in the lineage texts, but in the very essence of resilience and determination. Today we uncover the story of Tamar, a woman veiled by time, but whose actions echo through the annals of biblical history. In the fabric of biblical narratives, Tamar's story is woven with threads of tragedy and resilience. This tale, set in the epoch of patriarchs, begins with a young woman named Tamar, stepping into the complex world of familial duties and ancient customs. Tamar was married to the firstborn of Judah, a prominent figure in the lineage of Israel. However, Er's life was marked not by virtue but by wickedness so grievous in the eyes of the Lord that he met an untimely demise. This event, while tragic, was merely the commencement of Tamar's long and arduous journey. In the wake of Er's death, the duty fell upon Tamar to marry his brother Onan, as dictated by the law of levirate marriage. This ancient practice was pivotal, ensuring the continuation of a family line by requiring a man to marry his deceased brother's widow if the brother died without heirs. The firstborn son from this union would then carry on the deceased brother's name and inherit his estate. However, Onan, aware that any offspring produced would not be his heirs but those of his deceased brother, committed an act of disobedience. He spilled his seed on the ground, an act seen as defiance against his familial and divine obligations. This disobedience did not go unnoticed by the heavens, and like his brother, Onan too was struck down by divine judgment. With both husbands lost and no children to secure her future or that of her lineage, Tamar found herself in a precarious position. The safety net that the levirate law was supposed to provide had unraveled swiftly, leaving her without support. Judah, her father-in-law, promised Tamar his youngest son Shelah when he came of age, but as time passed, this promise seemed more like a placation. Left in limbo, Tamar faces a future uncertain and a lineage endangered, yet her story was far from over. As we shall see, her resilience and ingenuity become the cornerstones upon which her fate would pivot, challenging the norms and carving a path that would echo through history. What does one do when faced with injustice and abandonment? For Tamar, the answer lay in a daring plan. The responsibility then fell to Shelah, Judah's third son, but Judah, perhaps fearful of losing another son, hesitated. He sent Tamar back to her father's house under the pretense that Shelah was too young, and there she stayed, a widow in waiting. As the seasons changed, the promises made to Tamar faded with them. Realizing that Judah had no intention of fulfilling his duty, Tamar was driven by the need to secure her future and uphold her rights. In a society where a woman's status was perilously tied to the men in her life, Tamar's situation was dire. She crafted a plan that was as bold as it was risky. Disguising herself, Tamar waited at Enaim, on the road to Timnah where Judah would pass. She concealed her identity with a veil, posing as a prostitute. Judah, unaware of her true identity, solicited her services. From this encounter, she secured items from Judah as a pledge for payment: his seal, cord, and staff, items distinctly personal and identifiable. Months later, it was revealed that Tamar was pregnant. When Judah ordered her punishment for assumed infidelity, she presented his own belongings, turning the judgment upon him. In this moment, Judah recognized his fault and declared, "She is more righteous than I." Through her boldness, Tamar not only secures her place, but also challenges the patriarchal norms of her time. Every action has its day of reckoning, and for Tamar that day came when Judah discovered her pregnancy. Picture the scene. A woman of unwavering resolve stands before the very man who denied her the justice of family lineage. Her belly swells with the future, a silent testament to her bold gamble for honor and recognition. Judah, the patriarch, a man enmeshed in the traditions and expectations of his time, had unknowingly been led to a crossroads by Tamar's daring. Upon hearing the news of Tamar's condition, his initial reaction was one of outrage, fueled by the societal norms that clouded his judgment. He demanded she be brought forth for punishment, not yet knowing that he himself was entwined in the fate he was so quick to seal. But the truth has a way of unraveling the tightest knots. Tamar, poised and calm amid the brewing storm, presented Judah with the items he had given her as a pledge: his seal, its cord, and his staff. These were not merely objects, they were undeniable evidence of his involvement, tokens of his promise. The air must have thickened as realization dawned on Judah. The weight of his actions, the gravity of his misjudgment settled upon his shoulders. It was a transformative moment, a piercing light cast on the shadows of his integrity. With the eyes of the community upon him, Judah uttered the words that would redefine both their legacies. "She is more righteous than I." This proclamation was not merely an admission of paternity, it was a public vindication of Tamar. Her cunning plan, driven by a quest for justice rather than revenge, had not only secured her place within the lineage, but had also forced Judah to confront his own failings. In this moment of truth, Tamar's wisdom and fortitude shine brightly, illuminating her path to matriarchal honor. Her story, a complex tapestry of risk and righteousness, reminds us that the seeds of change are often sown in the actions of the bold and the brave. From the shadows of history, Tamar emerges not just as a survivor, but as a matriarch whose lineage would forever mark the sands of time. In the narrative tapestry of the Bible, Tamar's story unfolds with the birth of twins, Perez and Zerah. The moment of their birth is not merely a resolution to a personal saga, but a pivotal juncture in the biblical chronology. Perez in particular becomes a key ancestor in a lineage that stretches all the way to King David, and remarkably to Jesus Christ himself. This lineage, threaded through generations, illuminates the importance of Perez. His name, meaning breach or breakthrough, symbolizes a new beginning. It was through Perez that the line continued, a line that would eventually lead to Bethlehem and the birth of Christ. This connection is not just genealogical but deeply symbolic, representing a continuity of faith and redemption through the ages. Tamar's inclusion in the Gospel of Matthew's genealogy is particularly significant. She is one of only 5 women mentioned, standing alongside figures like Ruth and Mary. This mention is not a mere footnote, but a profound recognition of her role within the scriptural narrative. It highlights the unexpected ways in which divine purposes are fulfilled, often through those who are marginalized or overlooked. Her story, therefore, is not just about personal vindication, but about her instrumental role in the divine narrative that shapes the entire Christian faith. It underscores a theme that is woven deeply into the fabric of the Bible: God's use of unlikely individuals to achieve his purposes. In this light, Tamar's actions, her determination, and her boldness take on a prophetic quality. They are not just responses to her circumstances, but are steps toward a greater destiny that would affect the course of history. Tamar, once a forgotten widow, becomes a foundational figure in the lineage of kings and the Messiah. As we turn the page on Tamar's chapter, let's grasp the key lessons from her gripping story. Tamar, a figure of sheer resilience, faced extreme challenges yet never wavered in her quest for justice and respect. Her clever strategy was crucial for her survival and securing her descendants' place in a lineage leading to Jesus Christ. Tamar disguised herself as a veiled woman, a bold move that was not just about survival but a calculated strike against the unfair norms of her time. This act of defiance wasn't just brave, it was strategic, ensuring her rights and her family's future were recognized. What can we learn from Tamar? Her story isn't just a tale from the past, it's a prompt for us to rethink how we view the women in our ancient texts. In the rich fabric of biblical history, Tamar shows us that heroes aren't always who we expect. They're often those who challenge their destiny and change the course of history. Let's look closer at these narratives and appreciate the cunning and courage of those like Tamar, who teach us the power of resilience and strategic thinking.
If you know you like this video, Please don't forget to support this channel by hitting the subscribe button, liking this video, sharing with your friends and family as God richly bless you. See you in our next video. Thanks for watching.